How are you?
Hello.
Long time no see. I have a beard. You may not recognize me. How are you? Hey, Kathy, come on here. How are you? Nice to see you. Come on in. Come on in. You go. Come on in. Thank you. Come on. You go over here.
How are you, sir? Good to see you. How are you? Good to see you again. How are you? You guys going for an interview?
Here, private room. There's a private room in here.
Okay, yeah, when you're done.
So it's so nice to see you. Okay. Yeah, let's just quietly, you know.
Okay.
So, how's the weather?
How are you?
Good
to see you.
It's
Good
well,
to see you.
nice to see you too.
This is Susan Velaya, Mr. Garnett, and Katrina. You guys have met before?
I haven't. I haven't been back to Alberta since last weekend, so it was,
Oh.
cold. It was cold when I was there before, but oh well.
Yesterday we were in Ottawa, day before,
Yeah.
and that was a little bit cold.
Yeah.
They're compressing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so have a seat.
Good. Thank you.
Have a seat.
Okay.
Basically, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Garnett, for taking the.
Yeah. My just so you know, are you filming right there?
Yes,
Yeah.
she's live.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
And-
just you.
okay. And you
Yeah.
want? That's what you want?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yes. Is it okay with you, Katrina?
Yes. It doesn't bother me. Just so we know.
Yeah, we are live, and the reason that we are live, I'll explain a little about the background of it. A lot of Iranian people, they have questions from Canadian government
Yeah.
on the certain aspects of how the Canadian government is acting on behalf of Iranian people, for Iranian people. So therefore, I am basically voice of the Iranian people from inside. From the inside, we have a lot of contacts that they are contacting us. They are desperately in need of so many help, so many questions that they have, and their question I'm going to relate it to you,
Yeah.
if it's okay with you. So, the questions starts from there that Canada has been known for human rights supporter in the world,
Yeah.
and no question about that. But at the same time, it's kind of like we are seeing some kind of like a sort of double standards. And as a Canadian myself, I see that as well. And a lot of Iranians in Canada that they are not with the regime, they have the same questions. And I'm going to lay those questions to you, see where we go from there. One of the questions are that, first of all, I want to thank you for bringing the motion last year, putting the RIGC under the terrorist list. And you are the only one that we notice in Canada speaks for Iranian people. That is why I was happy to hear from you, to have a meeting with you, that to relay on you.
Yeah.
And because I know you are standing for Iranian people, even if you are one voice.
Well, our whole party has been involved in that as well to push forward this idea of the listing of the IRGC. And as you know, a year and a half ago, the government voted in favor of it, but then they haven't done anything. It's been a year and a half, and there's been absolutely no action in terms
Correct.
of the promise to list the IRGC. So, you know, we know it doesn't take that long to go through that process. So, they are, for whatever reason, deciding not to follow through on the will of the House of Commons.
Correct. Okay. One of the question is that maybe it's not. This is not a question. This is just a comment. As you know, right now we have 85 million people. It's been a hostage for this regime. With maybe like 5,000 people with the army behind them, the Sepah boats, they bring Hashd al-Shabi, they bring Hezbollah, they bring Fatimiyun, they bring all this organization from different countries to slaughter our people. And our people has been slaughtered on the streets, as you have seen in the past. Unfortunately, even the Canadian news agencies don't emphasize that. all they talk, oh, because gas was high. Gas was just an excuse. It was not a really thing. People, they are fed up. They have lost their sons, their daughters, their life. And the average Iranian, I'm gonna go from here to my questions. Average Iranians don't have millions of dollars to bring it to different country. You can see on the streets that people, they are eating from the garbage bins. And then all of a sudden we have people, they are coming to Canada with billions of dollars. And RIGC members, they are coming to Canada, they are in Canada. And they have citizenship, they have passports, Canadian documents, they have dual citizenships, which they are working with Iranian government. Why Canada is allowing this kind of money to come to Canada? If you want to go to bank, you want to put $10,000 in the bank, you have to fill up a Revenue Canada form. But how come these people, they can come with billions of dollars to Canada and everybody has a closed eyes? That was my question to you, one of them.
Well, in the election that was just passed, Conservatives committed to doing an inquiry into the issue of money laundering, especially in the real estate sector, but looking more broadly at the issue of money laundering as well, because this is a concern we hear not just from people in the Iranian community, but from many communities. Questions about whether the sort of spoils collected by corrupt regimes is then brought to Canada, and this is something that I hear, and it requires investigation, I think, and that was part of the election platform that we had, and unfortunately we didn't win the election, but we're going to continue to champion this issue. Certainly the need to investigate it, to consider the policy tools that respond to this. It's not something we've really seen action on yet from the government, but it's something that needs attention, I think.
In the fact of the matter that you have like so many exchange companies. You go to Yonge Street, you have more exchange companies than the variety stores you.
Yeah.
And the money laundering is coming under the table, and the Canadian government, I worked with RCMP, with CSIS for last 5 years. 5 years ago, I gave all the information, a lot of things. Nothing has happened. All they came back, they said, oh, they have real estates. And no action was taken in this matter. Like billions of dollars. Katrina has seen the video. 10 billion euro of Iranian money was being money laundered from Europe to Dubai. When I got the video, Katrina saw it, and I called the CSIS. They said, don't call us. They got fed up from me calling to let them know what's going on. And I put myself in danger, videotaped it, exactly. This is from Canada. And 10 billion euro is not a small money. And that money was supposed to go to different accounts, different people's account, and to go to the terrorist organizations. Canada did nothing. And my other question is that what Canada is willing to do for the regime advocates, such as ICC, Majid Johari, which is he's a MP. He's in Parliament.
I know Majid Johari is in Parliament.
Yeah. And what Canada is going to do for these people? These are advocated for the Iranian government.
I mean, I have some disagreements with the people you mentioned about aspects of the way Canada should relate to the Iranian regime. I think we can have those policy debates, and of course, we have those in Parliament. You know, I had an opportunity to have some dialogue with people from the ICC, and again, we didn't come out agreeing with each other about the way forward. I think, I think people have different reasons for their different points of view, and we're a free society in Canada, but I'm going to advocate for my point of view, which is that the IRGC should be listed as a terrorist entity. We should not we shouldn't reopen an embassy in Iran. These are positions that I think reflect the way forward that's consistent with the aspirations of the Iranian people, which is advancing freedom and democracy, and not giving rewards to a regime that does not respect the fundamental rights of its people.
But at the same time, regime has exported thousands of their own members out of Iran to Canada, while at the same time to other countries, such as our people were getting started on the streets. The university students from York University, they were with Iranian flag that they were trying to basically back Iranian government up, and they're advocated for Iranian regime. Do we really want this type of students to come to Canada to advocate for Iranian regime? It's like you're talking Hitler, somebody is coming to advocate for him, which he's not alive now. You know what I mean? That would be a riot on the streets. And why doesn't the Canadian government take a stance against this type of radical students, radical organizations that they are advocating for Iranian regime?
Well,
من میگیرم نمیدونم چرا تصویر داره اینجوری میشه قطع کنم بس کنم دوباره
No, stay like that, that's okay. I don't know why it is like that. Sorry.
من دوباره قطع میکنم دوباره بس میکنم اگه بشه
نه قطع نکن. That's okay. قطع نکن. Maybe turn the light, maybe
هیچ کارش نمیشه کرد.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
okay, probably maybe a couple more minutes and then
Okay, sure.
There, yeah, okay, so maybe two more minutes. But I mean, there are certainly, we would hope that that people here in Canada are recognizing that the importance of freedom, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, and it is concerning if there are groups that are explicitly supporting the Iranian regime. Now, to be fair, there are people that might have a different point of view from me about issues around sanctions and do so with the best of intentions. I think there are people that legitimately debate and disagree about the appropriate levels of sanctions in certain situations. But my own view is that the listing of the IRGC is an important step in order to advance freedom and democracy in not just in Iran but in the whole region. I mean, the IRGC, as you mentioned, it does seek to export in the region and around the world different forms of extremism
very important question: what Canada wants to play the role to helping Iranian people to reach that freedom? Like, we need the internet. We have, if it was the internet, this regime was not able to stand up. All we are hearing from Canadian politicians, or from different countries' politicians, yeah, we will do the best we can. We will do the best, but there is nothing happening. Iranian people, we need internet. That's right now. They have one section of the city has internet. They cut that. Then the other section, they cut that, then they say we have the internet. Mm-hmm. But what role Canada is willing to play to help out the Iranian people? We are tired of, honestly, we are tired of hearing that, we are behind the Iranian people. We will help you. Show me the money. Tell me what you are able to do, what you are willing to do.
Yeah. Well, so a few things. I mean, first of all, it's a first step, but I think that verbal support for what these protesters have been calling for is very important, and that those statements do matter, and they have not been as forthcoming or as strong from the government here as they could be and they should be. But I think action in terms of sanctions is very important. I think that is a concrete action that we can take. I mentioned the IRGC, but let's also add Magnitsky-type sanctions that target gross violators of human rights. Magnitsky sanctions was legislation that Conservatives put forward and passed in the last Parliament. It got the support of all parties eventually, which was good. But it is only as good as its implementation. It's up to the minister to put individuals on that sanctions list, and many people have put forward names of specific individuals. Those who criticize sanctions will say that sanctions hurt the general people. But what we're talking about here is very targeted sanctions, targeted against those who are violating human rights, targeting against the IRGC. And those sanctions don't target everyday people. They target the regime. They target those who are doing violence against the people. And so Canada can play a leadership role in this. And of course, also I would say continuing to put these issues on the agenda for discussion in international bodies, making sure that these things aren't, the situation in Iran and the impacts in the region are not forgotten, but they continue to be discussed.
One last more thing that we have. Okay. RIGC members, they have a lot of money in Canada right now. Mm-hmm. They have brought billions of dollars. You take it from Ansari, you take it from Khavari, you take it from the daughters of the Khamdi. Daughters of the Khamdi, they have investments in Canada. And so many others that they have been with this regime. And as an Iranian, what I want to see, Canadian government to seize all their assets to be returned back to Iranian people in the future, or not with this regime. We are not saying that you seize their financials, then give it back to regime. That's not what we are saying. It has to go directly to people one way or other. There are many ways to be able to do that. But what Canada is able to do to capture these RIGC members, to capture all this Iranians' wealth that has come to this country that violated Iranian people's the right of freedom, and they have taken their blood. They are killing their kids, and they are walking in their houses. They are machine gunning them, and if one person has left, they are banged back of the head. This is the regime we are dealing with. I don't know how much you guys know about it. We've been in contact. We know what's going on inside there. Canada should play from my point of it, my perspective of it, Canada should take a stand, play very big role on this one, to stand with Iranian people, condemn this regime, and do anything they can do, help out for Iranian people to take this regime down. This regime is a poison for whole world, as you know, as I know, everybody else knows. Do you think Canada can play such a role and to take this type of actions?
Well, thanks for sharing that information, that perspective. I believe that Canada can and should play a leadership role promoting the advance of freedom, of true democracy, of human rights and of the rule of law. And I think we need to be very clear about those being our values and those being universal human values, things that we want to put forward.
یکی از بچه‌ها میخواد صحبت کنه، سریع یه سری سوال داره. الان رو خط هستن.
They are from even they are asking question. They have a question. Can they ask a question? She can ask their question. What is their question?
Okay, just one. Then
one question.
Okay. آقای پارسی بفرمایید.
Hello, Mr. Garnett, and hello, Mr. Mamabani. Thank you so much for accepting me in this important conversation. Actually, as a proven evidences show in Canada, unfortunately, the agents of the terrorism of Iran, such as members of IRGC, Basic Force, and the front edges of the terror regime of Iran, the Hezbollah people connected to the terror regime of Iran, have been known by CSIS, CBSA, CIC in Canada. But when we Iranian political activists want to discover those people and their secret lives in Canada, unfortunately, the security system of Canada set us up and made many problems for us. This is not about a personal matter. This is about the society of the Iranians who are against the terrorist regime of Iran, and they are living in Canada, in Toronto, in Ottawa, and especially in British Columbia. This is a serious question. Why the security system of Canada and the immigration service of Canada are trying so hard to protect these people who are related to the terrorist regime of Iran, and they are living in the rich areas in Canada with the Iranian club. I mean with Iranian stolen money. This is billions of dollars that have been transferred to Canada by them, and they are laundering those money in the front of faces of the Canadian officials' eyes. But the Canadian officials' eyes, people, they close their eyes about this matter in Canada, and they are not going to answer to any question. They talk about the corruption of corrupt people who came from China to Canada or from Russia, but they never accept to answer to any questions about the elements of the terrorist regime of Iran who are living in Canada with Iranian stolen money. Could you please tell me, Mr. Garnett, do you have any plan for standing in front of these money laundering in Canada?
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for sharing your perspective. I don't have any knowledge of and can't comment on operational decisions made by our security agencies. I don't have any knowledge of that as a member of the opposition, and if I did, I probably couldn't talk about it. So I'm in a little bit of a limitation in terms of responding to a lot of what you said. I do think, as we proposed during the campaign, there is a need for more investigation into the issue of money laundering, and I think it should be a priority for parliamentarians to look into how we can do that investigation and ensure that that people can have confidence in the processes that are in place. Again, there's a commitment in our platform to do that investigation. So thank you.
In terms of just one thing,
yeah.
In terms of the sanctions, you brought it up that you spoke. Everybody has different opinion about the sanctions. Some are for it, some are not for it. But when we have the sanctions actually is targeting the regime.
I agree.
Iranian people, like medicine, everything is they want, they can bring it to them. But Iranian government is taking the medicine, bringing to other countries for their own forces in different countries, such as Iraq. Like hundreds of trucks they are going. So sanctions are not heading the people, is heading the government. But the government is tightening it up to turn the key around to say, to show the Iranian people, see, other worlds are putting us in sanctions.
The sanctions we advocate target the regime. Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
so much.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead. Thank you, Katrina. Appreciate it so much.
No problem. Thank you. Please don't.
No,
I'm
No.
just a staff.
عزیزان با من باشید یه لحظه. No, I'm just gonna. با من باشید الان یه لحظه بعد من بخوام صحبت کنم لطفاً. Thank you.
ببخشید من عذرخواهی میکنم از اینکه تصویر اینجوری داره ارائه میشه خدمت کسانی که اینجا هستن، من عذرخواهی می‌کنم نمیدونم چرا
عزیزان،
حاله نور ایجاد شده، نمیدونم اتفاقی
ببخشید
میفته
که
حاله
اگر
نور.
به هر نوعی که تصویر هست، منظور این بود که ما با این آقای گارنت، کسی هستند که عضو مجلس کانادا هستند و خودتون دیدین که با ایشون صحبت کردیم و درد ملت ایران رو به ایشون گفتیم و همونطور ازشون درخواست کردیم که زمانی که شماها میایید میگید ما پشت ملت ایران هستیم، ما عمل میخوایم نه حرف. و ایشون هم گفت دقیقا درست میگید و در مورد پولهایی که به کانادا اومده، اموال ملت ایران که به کانادا اومده، در مورد اون هم صحبت کردیم. ایشون گفت خبر نداشتن، حالا دیگه هرچی، ولی مطمئنم که صدا بالاخره جایی داره میره و ما در هر چی که در توانمون هست داریم انجام میدیم و این کاری بود که از دست ما ساخته بود و انجام دادیم و امیدوارم که جواب خوبی رو در آینده نزدیک از اینها بگیریم. باید دست گوش این دولت مردان اینها رو از زبان ماها میشنید، نه اینکه فقط از طرف دولت ایران میشنید و امیدوارم که جوابهای شما هم پاسخ داده شده تو این برنامه و همونطور اگر کسانی توانایی اینو دارن که زیرنویس کنن گفتگوهامون رو با آقای گارنت، نماینده ما به فارسی میگیم جمهوری خواه، اینجا کانسرواتیو هستش و دیگه خودتون دیدید ما هر جلسه‌ای با هر کی داشته باشیم خیلی واضح روبرو صحبت میکنیم، از اولش شروع میشه، همونطوری خودتون دیدید، با هیچ کس چیز رو پنهان نمی‌کنیم، در پشت درهای بسته ما با کسی فیلم بازی نمی‌کنیم و هر چی باشه در هر جهتی باید در جلوی ملت ایران باشه. من سپاسگزاری میکنم. اگر دوست داشتید این برنامه رو اشتراک کنید، اگر براتون زحمت زیادی بود انجام ندید. سپاسگزارم. درود و سپاس. با درود تا درود دیگر.
سپاسگزارم ازتون، متشکرم. فعلا دوستان عزیز بدرود.